Hey, what's going on, everybody? Manny here once again. Welcome to DFS Zone. I'm going to go over real quickly this four-game slate in the association today. But before I get started, like always, I appreciate you guys drop a like. If you're new to the channel, first time here, have not seen any of my videos before, the only thing you need to do to be a part of the community, get access to the videos, is to become a subscriber. So if you haven't done so already, before you go, make sure you subscribe down below. It helps my channel out. And of course, don't forget to put on your post notifications. This way you don't miss out on any of my uploads. With that being said, today's Tuesday. It is December the 10th. 2019, 4-gamer in the association. Also on this channel, I have a weekly giveaway. So if you want to be a part of the weekly giveaway, I give away a player pool, pretty much the same player pool that I analyze, research throughout the course of the day, all the way to about a half hour before lock. You'll have access to that same player pool every single day for a 2-game main slate or more. And the only thing you need to do is like the video, put down a comment down below regarding the actual slate, and of course be a subscriber to the channel, and you are in the weekly giveaways on Mondays. And on Monday I will reveal who that winner is for 1 week. Okay. Other than that, if you want to get your access to that same player pool more quickly, the only thing you have to do is go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/DFS Zone, and you'll have access there. I have a couple of tiers there. Go and check out the page. I have a couple of tiers there. The player pool, of course, is the GPP, the cash play, value plays, and as well as I have a quick research sheet for those who want to minimize their research time. I have a sheet in spreadsheet format that will help you narrow down and make decisions on your plays on your own. So if you're looking to save some time researching, definitely check that out as well. Okay. All right. I am pressed for time today. I'm doing this video later than I normally do videos, so I'm not gonna touch upon a lot of plays really quickly. I'm just gonna go over the actual guys that I'm looking at. The same players I picked for Fanduel here are in play for DK as well. I will tell you their DK price, but they're basically are going to be the same guys. So I'm going to start at point guard right at the top just to get going really quick. Is at the top, obviously Lillard, Trae Young are the top dogs. I think they are both viable plays. I think Damian Lillard is in a better spot, obviously being at home. You know how much I like Damian Lillard at home. So if you wanted to pay up, I think that he's probably the better option going up against the Knicks. Granted, the Knicks have played well, at least on my stats, over the last 5 or 6 games. They have actually been pretty good against point guards, but then again, they have not played somebody with the high usage that Damian Lillard brings to the board, and he's also so much more dangerous at home. So it's going to be definitely a tough matchup for New York. But we're going to come down. Terry Rozier is someone that is in play. I definitely like Terry Rozier, but I'm going to go with Ish Smith. I've been on him for a couple games already, and I am not going to sway away from that. 5,200. Obviously, Bradley Beal needs the help. He's going up against Charlotte. 5,200 for him here. He's also 5,200 on DK. But I love his price tag, obviously, on FanDuel more. But he is in play for DK as well. He's ever since the injury to Isaiah Thomas, he's played 3 solid games, over 30 minutes a game. As you can see, he's scoring 14 points or more per game. Brings a little bit of everything. Can get you a steal here and there. He's at 31 plus in 2 out of the last 3 games. So he has done very well there. He's controlling, he's played 30 plus minutes. He has a 40-point upside. His usage rate during the last 3 games has been at 20%, which is definitely an increase. Also taking 12 to 13 shots a game, 3 or 4 threes also on average over the last few games, shooting 55% from the floor. During the same stretch of 3 games. He had his first meeting against the Charlotte Hornets was back in October, I believe, and he actually had against the Charlotte Hornets, and he played off the bench 26 minutes, and he put up a 33.8, nearly a 34 spot, which is right here. It wasn't October, sorry, November 22nd. Yeah, 26, 10, 4, 6, 1, and 3 steals. So solid game for him. Now he's starting. He definitely is going to have to help out Bradley Beal with the offense, as well as Davis Bertans. I think those are the 2 key guys that Bradley Beal needs from the Washington Wizards to stay close in this game, or at least to have a good game here against Charlotte. He's going up against Charlotte. They're 28th in defending point guards and allowing 32.2 fantasy points per game. They gave up 49 to Trae Young just recently. Dinwiddie put up 35, and Ricky Rubio 4 games ago put up 44. That's over the course of the last few games. Like I said, Lillard is in play. I think you could definitely vouch for having maybe some Terry Rozier, who has tremendous upside, 7,200 going up against Washington. And I think you could also consider if Alfred Kendrick Nunn is obviously in play with all the injuries Miami has, but Alfred Payton for New York probably be the favorite there, who would show pretty good defense in his last outing for the Knickerbockers. We go over the shooting guard. A shooting guard at the top, you got Bradley Beal. Love Bradley Beal. Love Jimmy Butler more. Jimmy Butler will be somebody that will be in my player pool as well as Bradley Beal, and they will both be guys that I will make some lineups around. Devontae Graham is definitely someone to consider. He has a ton of usage, takes tons of shots. He is the key offensive weapon for the Charlotte Hornets, so expect him to be in play against Washington. And then the guy I am going with here is going to be obviously Jimmy Butler. So Jimmy Butler, 9,600. Man, you need about 45, 46. He's 9,100 on DK. You need pretty much the same 45, 46 fantasy points. He's been just red hot. I mean, obviously he has taken up a huge workload for the Miami Heat. He is the main offensive weapon for the Heat, and he brings a lot of defense as well. He's always been a good defender, as we all know. But 23 plus points from the floor in 4 straight games, had a triple-double twice over that span. 44 plus in 4 straight games as far as fantasy points. He did put up a 50 spot twice and a 60 spot once, as you can see here. He's playing 36 plus minutes, and like I said, 2 triple doubles. His usage over the last 3 games has been up to about 31%, taking 16, 17 shots over that span and 6 threes on average. He's also been getting to the foul line at least 10 to 12 times a game, and burying those shots as well. He brings a little bit of everything. He can do rebound, he can score, he can rebound, he can give you some assists, and of course he's a good defender. As you can see, 3 blocks and 2 steals over the last 2 games, and he gets pretty much a steal and a block almost every game. So you're going to get a lot from him. His first meeting versus Atlanta, he played 30 minutes and put up a 55 spot. That was back on October the 31st. He's going up against Atlanta. Atlanta's second in defending shooting guards, allowing nearly 36 fantasy points per game under fantasy point totals over the last 6 games. That's where I usually base my stuff from. Devontae Graham put up 36 on them. Garrett Temple of the Brooklyn Nets, 34. Harden, 82 over the course of the last 4. So minutes, usage, shots, the defense that he brings to the floor, and what he means to this team right now. Obviously, Jimmy Butler is in play. Again, like I said, Beal is someone that I'm considering, will be in some of my lineups, and as well as Devontae Graham. All right, let's go to small forward. Trying to make this quick today. At small forward at the top, we got Tobias, we got Barton and Marcus Morris and Carmelo Anthony. All these guys are kind of have, in a way, they're all kind of in play. I'm a little bit not too high on Harris or Barton, but if I'm going to go either two, I will go Harris simply because he has played well against Denver. Marcus Morris and Carmelo Anthony, that's a pretty good little matchup there, and I can see both of them scoring on each other quite a bit. 6,100, not bad price for either one of those guys. I think they both can score 30 fantasy points. I'm going to come down to Miles Bridges. He had a good game first time around, just to stay on that that Charlotte-Washington game. Miles Bridges in play, 5,400. He's 5,100 on DK. You need about 27 to me value on DK. You need about 25. He's averaging 24. And if you look at his numbers, a little shabby, a little up and down with the minutes, but nonetheless, he's capable of getting you 28 to as far as almost 40 fantasy points or better. Over the last few days, 29 plus minutes. He has been shooting at a 19% usage rate over the course of the last few games, taking 11 shots per game and about 3 or 4 threes. He could get you some rebounding. Okay, maybe the occasional 1 or 2 assists and the occasional steal or block. He's not big in those numbers, but he's shooting very well, and especially at home. And that's one of the other things that I looked at real briefly. 51% field goal percentage at home, 47% from 3, as opposed to on the road, 40% from the floor and 32% from 3. So that's a huge, huge difference. And his first game against the Washington Wizards this year, he lit him up. He lit him up for a 47 spot in 34 minutes. Going up against Washington, they're 21st in defending small forwards, allowing 47.6, the highest fantasy point totals of anyone on the slate in any other position. 47.6 over the last 6 games. They gave a 53 to Kawhi, 63 to Butler, 48 to Tobias Harris over the last 3 games. Granted, Miles Bridges is not one of those top-tier guys, but the only thing we need him to do is to get 27. For me, GPP, I want him to blow it up, hopefully get 35 to 40, and that will be pretty good for me, and even more than 40 will be even awesome. Other guys, like I said, Carmelo is someone that I'm considering for a few of my lines, as well as Marcus Morris. I think that these guys should be in position, or are in position, to be able to put up 30 to 35, especially with the usage that they both are getting. I mean, Carmelo's been getting quite a bit of usage, so has Marcus Morris as one of the top usage guys on the New York Knicks. Let's go over to power forward. At power forward at the top, game time decision for Bam. That would be big because obviously that's going to open the doors for a number of other guys for Miami. So stay on top of that. If you want to follow along, definitely go to my Patreon page and sign up for the player pool. Al Horford at the top, Julius Randle. I think Randle is in a good spot here against Portland. Should do okay, but I'm going to come down, save a little bit of money. I'm going to go with Davis Bertans at 6,200. I do like Jabari Parker, who is mad cheap at 6,000, but he's burned me a few times already, so I'm going to have him on some of my quarter GPPs. I'm not sure if I'm going to put him as a core yet as of today, but he is definitely someone who's 6,000. He's a little too cheap here on FanDuel, who is a guy that definitely has 40, 50 point upside. But I'm going to go with Davis Bertans, a little bit on the safer side. Davis Bertans is the second leading offensive weapon for the Washington Wizards. They're going to need his offense. He's been taking tons of threes. He has been very much a part of the offense over the last several games. He's playing 28 plus minutes. Pretty much for 5 straight games. He even played as much as 37 to 40 minutes. And as you can see, he's put a 33 plus at least over the course of the last 2 games as far as fantasy points. So at least he's close to getting 40-point upside. With the injuries that Washington has had, I mean, this guy's had to step up, and he has definitely been doing that. Offensively, he's the second leading scorer on the team over the course of the last few games. His usage rate is up from the last 2 games from an average of 17, 18% during the course of the year. He's been at 24 to 25%, taking a lot of shots over the last 4, 15 to 16 shots from the floor as opposed to the 11 on average, taking also 12 to 13 threes and shooting over 50% from the floor and 50% from 3 over the last 3 or 4 games. So he has been literally on fire. Ride the freaking, we're gonna ride a guy here that's playing very, very well and is in a position where they need him to continue to do what he has done as of late. So Davis Bertans is in play for me here today. He's going up against Charlotte, 20th defending power forwards, allowing 32.3 fantasy points per game. Let me just go back to Davis, because he did play against Charlotte already. He did put up a 38, which I forgot to mention, in 28 minutes. Put up 20 points from the floor, 8, 4, and 1 steal for 38.6 fantasy points per game the first time they played each other. So I expect him to do the same at 62. You need 31, man. Hey, if he can get me 40 here tonight, high 30s, I'll be happy with that $6,200 price tag. And again, a guy that you could definitely look at is Jabari Parker at 6,000. It's pretty cheap going up against Miami. Not the easiest matchup, but nonetheless, because of how well Miami plays as a team defense. But he is due for a get-right game, so this may be the one right here. All right, at center, at the top, we got Embiid, we got Jokic. I will have some exposure to Jokic at 8,800. He seems to get under the skin a little bit of Embiid when they have played in the past. I mean, we're talking about in the last year or two. But 8,800 for a guy that can possibly get me 50 here today. I think I can definitely go with Jokic here. Whiteside's in a good spot going up against Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson kind of similar to Whiteside, good in the paint, pretty good shooter, very good with the alley-oops, very good with blocking and defending. This is going to be interesting to see, but at 6,900, I'd rather take my boy Mitchell. I was on him the last time he played. I'm a New York Knicks fan, as you know, so I really would love to see this kid continue to blossom here. So hopefully Mike Miller, the new coach, the interim coach, lets him play. 6,900. He is coming off the bench, and I'm okay with him coming off the bench because he has a tendency to get into foul trouble, as we know. So maybe not starting him, but letting him come off the bench would probably be a good idea for now, for a little bit. But I think at some point or another, he's going to start consistently. But Mitchell Robinson, 6,900. You need 34. He is much cheaper on DK, 5,700. That's $1,200 cheaper. You need 27 there. He's playing 25 plus. He is a great 1.1, 1.2 point per minute player, and that's what brings him up here as someone you must have a consideration for, because he defends. He makes an effort to defend people and try to get those blocks and steals, and he's been great. As you can see, look at all the peripherals here, and of course he can get you some rebounds. All right, 25 plus over the last 2 games, 35 fantasy points in 3 straight games, and of course, like I said, he can defend, get you some blocks and steals. His usage on the court in the last 2 games is up to 17, 18%, taking 8 or 9 shots, and he's shooting at a 68% clip. He's going up against Portland. They're 12th in defending centers. This is not an easy matchup going up against Whiteside, but nonetheless, at his price tag, if he could get me 35 to 40 and maybe even get a 50 spot here, it will be awesome to see Mitchell Robinson do that. And I think he's going to get up for a game like this. But at the same time, if you want to pay up, like I say, Jokic is definitely someone to consider. And of course, you can consider Embiid. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he's definitely in play. We're trying to keep that. Today is a good day. Remember, today is a tournament day, folks, and a balanced lineup today will work. You don't need to necessarily go studs and scrubs, but you can go that way as well. But it's a 4-gamer, so definitely leave your options open and spread it out a little bit, especially if you're doing multiple lineups. But Mitchell Robinson in play. So all 5 of these guys are also on the DK list as well. Like I said, if you want to follow along and see where I'm at, I mean, I'm pressed for time today. I know this is kind of choppy and quick from what I normally do, but I needed to do this quickly because I'm running out of time and I got to go back to work. I do work. This is only like part-time for me, even though this takes more time than my actual job, to be honest with you. So again, man, that's basically it, man. Wish you a lot of luck tonight. Last night was a terrible night, man. Blake Griffin, man, he laid a big dud. I had him on 50% of my lineups. I wasn't high on some of the other guys like Ball. I was chit-chatting with somebody in the community, and he was like, hey, Ball busted, but I was on, he was like maybe 10% of my lineups. I really went down. This is why, again, don't lock in the players that I have here. Make sure you do your research. If you want to follow along, you want to really get more where I'm at as far as players and the player pool, you just come down to the Patreon page and, take the player pool, and I'll be able to narrow down some plays by the end of the day, and you'll have a better grasp of what players I'm really looking at, and you can build your lineups around those players on that player pool, which would be a little short, small, fit, 18 to 20 players or something like that to make lineups from. So if anything, that's the best way to go. But remember, today it's a tournament day, GPPs. Try not to do a whole lot of cash, and that's basically it, man. Again, man, drop a like on the video if you want to be on the giveaway. Like, comment, and of course subscribe. And again, man, the grind continues, man. NBA basketball, fantasy, the game's got to be played. I keep telling people, man, don't, it's just very, very hard to win on a consistent basis here. Even with all the statistics that we look at, I know a number of you probably do the same thing I do, look at stats as well, and it is time consuming. And then, of course, when it just doesn't hit, last night, didn't cash anywhere in any of the tournaments I did. I think my highest score was like 275, which is probably one of the worst scores overall this year for a high for me. So it really was not a good night. But I'm looking to bounce back on this 4-gamer, man. So, again, same thing for you guys. If you had that bummed out night, hey, man, keep your head up, keep grinding, and hopefully today will be a better day, all right? I'll see you guys tomorrow.